joy, healing, and a whole lot more. Hey, Savannah, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Doing so well. Thank you so much for joining and for talking to us today.
Of course, thank you for having me. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. Are you in Nashville right now?
Yes, yeah, I just played a show last night, opening for Isha Tawari. It was a lot of fun. And then yeah, so I'm just here for pretty much the rest of the month, which is great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. I like to start these conversations with just a basic question of how are you doing today?
I'm doing good for the most part. I think I am still like I traveled so much this summer and I mean like went to Miami, London, LA, New York. I don't know where else. So I think I'm just like coming off of just months of like kind of traveling for work mainly, but even some of it was friendship stuff and yeah, so good. I think I'm just kind of getting back into my routine in Nashville, I guess, and trying to kind of sort that out.
I have a question. When since you travel so much, when you get back, say from, whether it's a tour or just traveling in general for music, do you experience what folks call like the post-tour blues?
For sure. Yeah. Especially if it's like a longer run. Like I think we did a month long one in February till like kind of mid end of March. And I think when that ended, it's like part of you is very like happy just because you have like a moment to breathe and be with your friends and family again. And then there's another part of you that's kind of like gets used to being out there and like the adrenaline of it every day and just kind of feeling like purposeful and like you're doing something important. And so, yeah, coming back to like normalcy, I guess, is good and bad. It just makes you feel kind of like, whoa, like, what do I do with myself now? Like, how do I still be as productive as I just was the last month? And kind of those thoughts, I think, are what come up for me. But yeah.
Hmm. Why is talking about mental health so important to you?
Um, there's a lot of reasons. I think growing up I like wasn't very big on kind of recognizing like vulnerabilities in myself or really in other people. Like I was raised in a way where it was just very much like very much be tough and kind of like put things aside and like focus on, the future, focus on your like passion and like your work. And so I was kind of like a very I would say like energy wise, very much like a masculine female. Like I just kind of felt very like dominant and just kind of like I don't get upset, I don't get emotional, and that obviously isn't true. It would just kind of translate into a different emotion. At that point, it would probably be more so just like an anger that would come out of it, or maybe just a little bit of like a dissociation type thing. And I'm not sure if I ever truly recognized those things until I was like more an adult. And I think like it was just something really important to me was to figure out myself and like how my brain kind of works. And just the best ways to, have tools to kind of navigate those emotions and things that I recognized I had kind of pushed away for a while. And also, yeah, I find like personality and just anything related to psychology very like intriguing to me. It's almost like a special interest. So yeah, I think it just all kind of ties together at some point.
So how do you prioritize your mental health in your day to day when you're home? What does that look like?
Mm. I feel like I usually really, really try to have a routine of some kind, just because like being a musician, you don't really have a routine. Like you make your own routine. So I try to have like a morning ritual situation, meditation in the morning and at night, and like kind of just like recenter before I go on my phone, before I go like do a bunch of work. I try not to ever like work out of my bedroom, especially too, like with my laptop. I just try to keep
Smart.
like that a very separate thing. And then yeah, I don't know, I try really hard to like set boundaries with my like social media and kind of like have time limits on my phone and yeah, just try to get myself in a good spot. I think like being home too long gets kind of weird because I also am someone who likes to be like on the go and doing things. So trying to find the balance of like what does rest actually look like? Because I even when I'm like resting, I'm not really resting. So yeah.
Your music and from what I can tell, your fan base is just really deeply rooted in community. So what does community mean to you and why is it important?
I think for me, community was like something I was passionate about since like I was really young. Like I think a lot of the friends that I have now that are very close to me in my actual like personal life are people I've known since I was a kid, and I've kind of, really just like dedicated a lot of like my younger years to like pursuing friendships in a very real way. I didn't ever want to just have friends and then them go away. And so I really feel like when it comes to my fans or anything with music too, the whole purpose of music for me is to make other people kind of not only feel like, understood by something, but maybe to like provide like words for them and to explain an emotion or a situation that maybe they didn't know how to do before, or maybe just didn't think about. I think because I'm so interested in like personality dynamics and like how our brains work and stuff, like a lot of that type of language wakes its way into my writing. And so I think it kind of just makes people like, yeah, think hard about something that maybe they just like have been ignoring, or something that they are kind of afraid to dive into
Mm.
emotionally. And that's just like really important, because I think a lot of musicians have done that for me, and music is just very like cathartic for me, and writing from an honest place is also, yeah, very important. And so yeah, I find it like community kind of alleviates my anxiety when it comes to performing, because I don't ever want it to be like a thing about me specifically, like, oh, Savannah's XYZ. Like I wanted to just kind of be like a space for everybody to come together. And there not to be as much pressure on like me being anything special, but the music is like the thing that ties everybody together, if that kind of makes any sense.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm an artist myself, so a lot of what you're saying, I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
totally been there. Um, let's talk about creative blocks. How do you handle them? You know, some artists they just try to push through it or they walk away. Artists that I talked to for this series, what do you do? Do you lean on others? Do you walk away from a song or a project if it's just not clicking right then and there? Or what's your process like?
Yeah. Typically I experience the most creative block when I'm trying really hard to write a great song. If I have like this pressure to, yeah, recreate something I've already done, or meet like a new level with something I've already done. Like I think my song Cut to the Chase was like a new sound for me, in terms of like more upbeat and just more like a wittier side of my personality, a little less intense. And I think people responded really well to it. And I just think like even after that I was kind of like writer's block for a while, because I was just like, oh, I like, how do I recreate this? And that kind of stuff just never suits me. So typically I'll try to just write what I'm actually feeling in the moment and what I'm actually passionate about and all the things. And then I end up loving it more. But if it's not coming to me, I won't push it. I'm like one of those people where I really will say like, yeah, showing up for your, art every day and like trying to write something, even if it's just a verse, is like important, because it helps you, just become a better writer in general and like get your reps in. But at the same time, it just, if it's not coming, it's not coming. And like trying to force it also doesn't really help. So yeah, I kind of will walk away. Like if it's just not happening that day, and not like put a mean pressure on myself of like, you suck at songwriting now, like,
Yeah.
because when I do that, I think the creative block gets even worse. So,
Absolutely. What does fulfilling a living li- fulfilling what does living a fulfilling life mean to you?
oh, that's a good question. Um, I think ultimately just like presence is really important, and being like happy, genuinely happy. Like I think circumstances can obviously like shift and alter that emotion, because happiness isn't like something you can expect from yourself 24/7 clearly. But I am somebody that's very impatient and like kind of, wants things to happen when I want them to happen, and a little bit of like a control freak for sure, to where this job doesn't suit that very well, like that type of, personality. It just makes it way worse, because there really isn't a lot of control in this job, and you can work really hard and just like not see results for a long time, and it just really depends. And so I think I'd be a lot more fulfilled, and I feel more fulfilled the longer that I practice like, yeah, just being present in the moment and kind of trusting, and just this like not putting so much pressure on me, and just knowing like what's meant to be for me will happen. And it's a hard mindset to get into and to like fully live into, but I do think it's like a practice, like every single day, just getting in that headspace. Yeah, because otherwise you're kind of having dreams come true and you're not excited about it because you're still upset because you want like the next thing to happen. Like it's good to be a go-getter and to have goals, but also like you have to kind of sit with the wins too.
Yeah. What does joy mean to you outside of music? What does it look like?
Um, I think that's something that I like for a long time kind of really had trouble figuring out just because I mean I've always been someone who loves to travel and like so music is like tied a lot to my travel and like just so many things about this career is like tied to your identity in a lot of ways and so that kind of makes it hard but I think just being around people that I'm like close to like I think I'm despite being obviously like a public facing person and like choosing a career path where that is what you do and that is what you are there's obviously a level of my life that's private and like I think my best friends and like the people that are closest to me, that's like when I have like a lot of joy in my life too, is just getting to spend time with them and, just like catch up. And they're all like in nothing related to music. Like they're one's a scientist, one's a doctor, one's an occupational therapist. Like they're all very smart medical girls off in the world doing their thing. And so just like surrounding myself with them and doing things like that yeah, remind me of home, like going to the beach. Like I'm from Florida, and so like the water and just being like near the ocean is very good for my mental health as well. All of those things I think like kind of bring me joy and remind me that life isn't always just about my career because that's something that I definitely struggle with is not associating my entire life to this one thing that's like there's so many other things too that are important.
It can be tough though. I feel like the music industry is an industry that puts that pressure on you and makes you feel that you have to be go, go, go all of the time, or otherwise you're going to miss opportunities or
Yeah.
miss things. So I can absolutely relate to that. So let's talk about the music industry. What do you love most about the industry and what do you like the least? Because I feel like that's not talked about enough.
Yeah, that's true. What I love the most is the performing and getting to be in front of people and seeing their face and yeah, just remembering like what this is all kind of about for me. Like not every artist loves the performing part and like doesn't, that may not be their goal, but for me that was always my goal was just to like get out there and get to see people connecting to the music in real time. It's just like most I think the most inspiring part about this job and like the thing that kind of keeps me going and I think the worst part is probably well, there's sadly a lot of cons sometimes to this job. There's a lot of pros too, but I think like the worst part of the music industry is just like I don't think it's a very fair industry for a lot of reasons, especially like yeah, when it comes to just compensation, when it comes to splits for artists and writers and publishers, like there's just like so many things about it that I think people when they hear how it actually works, they're like, why would you ever choose that job? And it's like, yeah, I think it just comes from like truly loving it. And I think I've always heard people say that as advice. Like if you don't love music more than anything, like literally choose something else because it's so much better and easier for you in the long run. If you can do without music, like do it. But if you can't, obviously, then you're meant to do this job. But it is tough. I think like for me, I'm very much a security based person as well. And so like there's not a ton of security in this job at this current state of my career. So it's just having to accept that and like trust in the ebb and flow of it all. But it is hard for sure.
Yeah. How do you deal with pressure in such a competitive industry? Do you feel pressure?
Yeah, I do. But I don't know. I'm very I think this is all very much like, teach their own and how they handle things. I think for me, like pressure, feeling like someone like doubted me to some level, feeling like, somebody else got an opportunity that like I think I would have loved to have. Like those things don't really make me feel down. If anything, I get very like motivated by those things, not in like a vengeance way. Like I think that was me as a kid. I used to be like a little revenge seeking child and I needed to like calm down. But now it's more yeah, just motivation because I think like there are so many ways to make this job happen and there are so many people that like can make it work. And I feel like if there's you think like the concept of having, there's enough ears for everybody, like I try to really live into that. When I start to get like maybe a little bit stressed about like, yeah, imposter syndrome, just like I think there's enough room for everybody and unlimited amount of people who love and want to like, find their new favorite artist. So just trying to kind of stay in like an open space in that. And yeah, the pressure just it does happen for a lot of the time it's just it's a pressure to for me not let like the team that works with me down, or not to let my management down, or like people that have like poured into my career and have supported me for years. It's like that kind of thing where the artist is the product of a lot of people's hard work, and so there is a pressure there. But no one's really putting it on me, it's me putting it on me. So just trying to kind of get back into certain headspaces of like you're doing all you can do, and like at the end of the day that's all you can do, so um that's really the best way I guess I try to handle those things.
I feel like a lot of artists need to hear that, especially because most of the time it is self-imposed pressure that we're putting on ourselves, and our teams are actually just really supportive. But
Yeah.
like you said, again, not wanting to let folks down, keep the momentum going. So I think a lot of artists are gonna really need to hear what you just said. Um, let's talk about you. You love performing. What's been your favorite show so far? Where was it? Why does it stick out to you?
I guess it's weird because there's just so many shows I've done, and they're all so different, and like there's like I guess I could say like one reason there would be this one would be my favorite and the other one for this reason, like you know what I mean? But I think if we're gonna talk in terms of like fan engagement and connectivity and just feeling like you made an impact, I would probably just honestly say like the show I just did in Atlanta, which was 2 days ago or 3 days ago. And then before that show, I would have said the one I did opening for Jonah Murray in Chicago last year. I think like both experiences were the best way to say is you almost felt like it was like your headlining tour just by being an opener. It was very energetic and just yeah, full of just like joy to be there, and the crowd just genuinely wanted to hear what you had to say. Like there wasn't like it wasn't like a pressure, I think, and some venues and some like opening slots you just feel like you're really trying to win people over, and it is hard, and especially if it's like night after night on a tour where you're just not getting that much back. It's like a lot of output. So I think those shows just reminded me that like there is an audience for the type of music that I make. There's people who like appreciate it and like want to hear it, and yeah, just it was very inspiring in both situations. And yeah, just like a generous energy in terms of not only like support on stage but also like wanting to meet you after, wanting to like get merch, wanting to just show up and be supportive. And those two shows, yeah, stood out to me, I think, in a way that I wasn't maybe anticipating prior to playing.
Okay, so I always like to ask, what are you listening to lately that you're excited about?
um in terms of my music or other people's
It
music.
could be either. It could be both.
Oh, okay, okay. I think right now I'm still in like release mode, so I've been sitting on a lot of the music I'm putting out for a while, and I have some stuff coming, so like, of course, I'm excited about those things. But yeah, I think I've been listening to the Marias a lot. I think
Yeah.
like I've really loved them. I've loved her for a while, and yeah, just like every time I really like end up loving someone's like whole discography, I always end up feeling like it has like this, like coastal like energy to it. And I think that's just like the Florida in me. I just love stuff like that. There's a band that I also listen to a lot, called The Dwellers, and like I've listened to them for a while, and I like the new album they put out. And then of course I listen to Gracie Abrams. She's like my favorite artist probably ever. A lot of like Ash. I've been listening to Ash a bunch lately. So yeah, just like a lot of different artists. I think like I don't really have like a specific genre too that I like adapt myself to only. Like I kind of just I really do like a lot of different genres of music. So just like kind of yeah, in an experimental mode. I've been listening to a lot of like alt music as well lately, and like different bands in that space. And I just yeah, it's been fun.
You mentioned social media earlier, and I feel like as an artist nowadays, you can't avoid social media. You have to have a presence on there. How do you balance the expectations and pressure of social media? Because you seem just like it comes so naturally to you. That's what it looks like. So how do you have a love hate relationship with it? Do you love it? Do you like? How do you feel?
It's interesting. I don't know how to say it the best way. I think that social media and I, as if we were, if it was a person, I don't
It
know if it,
might as
love,
well.
right, literally. I think love hate is so hard because it's like such strong words on both sides. I don't know if I have like a strong emotion toward it in any way. I think that it's annoying, but it's also very helpful.
Yeah.
So it's confusing because it's like I don't, if it wasn't for my job, I think I would like a lot more because I would be like just able to be whatever I want on there, scroll and have fun and whatever. But when I was a kid, I definitely loved it. I've had a phone for a long time. I'm very much in that Gen Z. Like I got my first phone when I was like 9 or something ridiculous, like ridiculous. So when I got a Facebook, I was 9, and I think I had like a flip phone before that because I was like running away from my mom in stores, so she bought me like a flip phone to make sure she could call me. So I had a phone since I was like 7 or something, like wild.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it only had her number, but like my first like phone, I think I was like 9 or 10. So I think yeah, like I used to love it and I just was on it all the time, and then now I think it stresses me out sometimes, but I've been working for years with my team on like ways to navigate social media and ways to make it less hard for me because I am so big on knowing how much of a discovery tool it is. And I mean, it's changed my life in a lot of ways and has changed my career in a lot of ways. And I do think if you're consistent enough on there, something will happen. Like it's almost like inevitable. Like you can't never have a viral video if you're posting every single day for a year on every platform. Like it will happen. You may not have like a career based off just social media, and I don't think anybody would want that. I mean, I definitely wouldn't want that. But it is
Right.
a way to find new fans, and I've seen it, very much so change the trajectory of so many people's careers. And I think that there's like it's a tool. Why not use it, right? But I
Yeah.
do think it requires a lot of effort if you want to do it right. I think it requires a lot of effort if you want to have like, a brand and a marketing brain going into it. That's I think the part that's exhausting for me is I am such a, both my parents are entrepreneurs and own their own businesses, and I feel like my brain is always wired in that direction, more business than creative.
Mm.
So I've had to kind of step into like creative and let my manager, one of my managers, because one and not of them does social media with me, and like we like do it consistently together. So we'll just like talk through basically any song a month in advance, get like a plan, like just like ask questions throughout the month about like captions, just different things, that making sure I'm kind of staying on like the playbook of the project essentially. And yeah, that requires of course marketing. Like I'm always thinking in terms of that, and I think it's annoying that my brain now can't unthink that way in any capacity. Like I'm always thinking about like marketing things, but I think it's been helpful too. And I mean, this is a business at the end of the day, and like I think a lot of artists hate that about it, but it is just the reality. And it's like if that's the only way to make the creative side successful, to have this as my like full-time job, then I'm gonna do it even if I don't love it. um so it's kind of where I'm at with social media. I don't know, it's a tricky thing too.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is. And I feel like a lot of folks, really struggle with embracing it, but also you have to. In this day and age. We're going to wrap this up, and I just want to thank you ahead of time for taking the time to talk to Backline about mental health and about creativity and the realities of the industry, because I think these conversations are so, so important. What's on the horizon for you, and where can folks find your music?
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and this has been like lovely. I feel like for me, if I don't get to like talk about things outside of just like my songs, like it's not as fulfilling. Like I think as an artist, like having the why obviously behind your career and what you want to do is important. So yeah, I appreciate the time. For me, I have just new music coming out, and this year, we're going to be announcing some exciting stuff in terms of like potentially a fall tour we're hoping for, and if not something where I'm like opening for someone again, it'll maybe be something different where it's like more so intimate, me going to specific cities and playing for people in certain ways and trying to kind of figure that out. But yeah, definitely a lot of music and feeling good about that. And then I have a music video coming out in 2 days that we did film in London, which was so special. And that drops, on the 25th. So I'm excited. It's for my new single, Tightrope. So yeah, that's all the kind of the updates, I guess. And then you can find me literally anywhere as long as you look up Savanna Leigh. I should be there. Savannah with no H. That's where everyone gets messed up. And then Leigh is just Leigh. That should be everything, I think, in terms of like my platforms all have the same thing going on. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Savannah, for taking time out of your afternoon. Really, really appreciate it. We're big fans over here at Backline, and I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.